welcome to the Boardroom. Today on our show, Levert hurt, Michigan star guard out for the season with a foot injury, and all the King's men, new Michigan football coach Jim Harbaugh finally has his staff in place. And finally, fireworks on ice. The hockey team erupts for 10 goals to drop Ohio State. I'm Max Bultman, and joining me on the show today are senior sports editor and men's hockey beat writer Jason Rubenstein, and managing editor of the Michigan Daily and men's basketball beat writer Lev Fasher. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Max.
I want to start on the hardwood tonight, where Karis LeVert, Michigan star guard, is out for the season with a broken foot. Lev, how big an injury is this to this team?
Well, it's huge. LeVert was leading the team in basically every important statistical category: scoring, rebounds, minutes, steals, assists. So obviously it's a huge loss. Not just on paper, though. It's a very inexperienced Michigan team, and there aren't a lot of players who are capable of stepping up and filling the kind of production that LeVert had been providing. So it's a huge loss, and it really, really substantially alters the outlook for Michigan's season.
Yeah, going off what Lev said, heading into the season, LeVert was going to be the guy that was supposed to step up, take the leadership role, and take Michigan to where they've been the past couple seasons. And without him, you don't really know what to expect from this team because the freshmen haven't looked as good as they did on paper heading into the season. So this injury is going to hurt.
Yeah, this was a team that already figured to be sort of a long shot for the NCAA tournament. What's a realistic postseason expectation now for this team, Jason?
Yeah, like you said, I think the NIT now is what it's going to end up being. They haven't had a marquee road win yet, really. Ohio State blew them out in their own arena. So I really don't know what to expect from this team. The NCAA tournament does not look like a realistic opportunity at this point.
Yeah, I would agree. The hardest portion of the Big Ten schedule hasn't even started. You got Michigan State coming up. You got Wisconsin on Saturday. So for Michigan to finish the season with a winning record and be eligible for the NIT, I would say at this point is a success given the circumstances, given the injuries and the illnesses. If Michigan can manage to weather the Big Ten storm and make it into the NIT, that'll be an acceptable benchmark for the rebuilding year.
So, Lev, who does need to step up right now for the basketball team to be successful?
I think we saw it this Tuesday against Rutgers. Basically, everybody needs to step up. Spike Albrecht is a proven leader, and he's really shown good composure through this. He hasn't even been entirely healthy himself. But you have guys like Aubrey Dawkins, a freshman who hadn't played much prior to this slew of injuries. He's already having monster games in LeVert's absence. You need to see some improvement from guys like Mark Donnell and Max Bielfeldt if Ricky Doyle isn't entirely healthy, and they both made big threes in the game against Rutgers. And I think you need to see some poise and some shots made by Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman, another freshman who hasn't gotten a lot of quality minutes, but you're starting to see flashes here and there. He has a few moves in him, and he can shoot from long range. So everyone, essentially, it's going to have to be a committee effort for the void left by LeVert to be filled.
Yeah, one guy you missed out on was Cam Chapman, who was a starter to start the year. So clearly John Beilein had some confidence in him going in the season, but he simply just can't find a bucket. I mean, he needs to get going if this team has any chance of making a Big Ten miracle run.
Yeah, he's way too highly touted a recruit to this consistently be unable to score. His jumper hasn't been there. He hasn't really been productive in the paint. He's still talented, but there's something missing. Let's see if John Beilein can find it.
Yeah, Beilein said he wants to hold Chapman back on the bench so he gives him a little more time to progress. Do you think maybe it's a confidence thing with Chapman?
You don't know, but it would seem like he's a bit of a head case. By all accounts, he played well in Europe in their trip there before this season, and he was a very highly touted high school recruit who could shoot the ball and really score effectively. So you have to think it's a bit of a mental issue or just a transition to college issue, but the talent's probably there.
All right, moving from the court to the coaching carousel, Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh finally has his staff in place for the upcoming season. Lev, who's the biggest get on this staff?
I would say the biggest get is actually more of a keep. You have Greg Madison, Michigan's former defensive coordinator and the former D coordinator at the Baltimore Ravens in the NFL. He's on Jim Harbaugh's staff as an assistant. He's not even the defensive coordinator. So you can just tell this is a very stacked coaching staff. The fact that Madison is there, he's not even running the defense. It says a lot about the kind of guys Harbaugh has brought together in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree Madison's a big hire, but I personally think Jed Fish, the quarterbacks and passing game coordinator, is just a massive hire. He can recruit that he coached in the NFL. Blake Bortles, the first-round pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars, he was really upset when Fish took this job, and that says something. And I also think Tyrone Wheatley as the running backs coach is great. I mean, he obviously wore the maize and blue, so he can kind of relate with these players. And he actually offered Mike Weber, who's a five-star running back in the state of Michigan, his first scholarship offer to Syracuse. So hopefully maybe he can snag him.
Yeah, Jason, you mentioned recruiting. Is there anyone that Michigan fans should be watching now that Harbaugh is in play that maybe they were completely out of the picture for before?
Yeah, five-star cornerback Amon Marshall was here this past Monday, and from what it looks like on Twitter, he had a great time. And then Michigan's also making significant progress with Raquan Smith, who's a top 50 linebacker out of Georgia. So if they're looking to build a hard-nosed defense, getting these two guys would be huge.
Yeah.
I would say Mike Weber, very highly touted running back. In Michigan's backyard, he's at Cass Tech in Detroit. He's currently an Ohio State commit, but it seems like Harbaugh is having a little bit of success in getting Weber to reconsider. If he can flip him, that would be huge. He'd be one of the marquee recruits in Harbaugh's first class at Michigan.
All right, now I want to go to the ice, where Michigan just cannot be stopped right now. Lev, what has gotten into this team?
It's really crazy. They've played just one game since Red Berenson's 800th win, but in their last 3 games, the offense has been explosive. Each line in its own right has seemed very cohesive. They had 10 goals in a road game at Ohio State. They've had trouble on the road, and they've had trouble scoring. So you put those things together, they're playing well on the road, and they're putting up 10 goals against a quality Big Ten opponent. It seems like all the wheels are really in gear.
Yeah, I would go back even further to the GLI where they won without 4 of their best players. That seemed to really give confidence in this team, and ever since they haven't lost. So, Red finally found lines that are starting to click, and they seemingly can't be stopped offensively right now.
Jason, I want to talk about the offense that you just touched on. You mentioned it was up there nationally, but the defense seems to be holding it back a little bit. Is that the only thing keeping Michigan from a long postseason run?
Yeah, I would say yes, completely. I mean, the defense seemingly can't get its composure after Michigan scores a goal. It seems that the other team will score literally a minute right after. You saw it in the 10-6 Ohio State game. But they've been working on it in practice this week, and they've really been emphasizing just clearing the puck out of the zone right away and doing the simple things. And hopefully for them that this works, because they need the defense to step up if they want to contend for a postseason run.
There we have it. Levert's injury catastrophic, Harbaugh's staff star-studded, and the hockey team poised for a deep tournament run. Thanks for joining us, and make sure you keep up with our content all week long at MichiganDaily.com. Cheers.